Welcome to another episode of As Told by Millennials.
Y'all better come up here and get one of these. That's too damn bad! And it's really very simple. Y'all better come up here and get one of these. That's too damn bad!
Welcome to another episode of As Told by Millennials. It's David.
I'm Denzel.
I'm Milton.
And hey, I'm back again. It's my week J here on the season premiere.
Season 2, guys. Season 2.
Season 2. We made it.
Yeah.
We're glad to be back. I missed y'all. I missed the mic. I can't say the same for these other two.
I'm no longer on PTO.
Praise God.
And I'm very glad to be back for season 2. As you can see, we're shaking things up a little bit, trying to add a video element to this episode and to this season, actually. So we hope that you guys really enjoy it. And we think that you're going to really enjoy this season premiere episode.
Yeah, and guys, just to be sure that you all are aware, we do have our website up. If you go to our Instagram and our Linktree, it'll have all that information. The website has a lot of good information where you can connect with us, and we can connect with you all. So be sure to check that out.
Right, and also be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and hit up the inbox at astoldbymillennials@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. We have so appreciated the outpouring of appreciation and reviews that you guys have left us on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, just saying how much you appreciate the podcast. We appreciate you guys, and y'all are the reason we keep doing this. So keep the feedback going, whether it be positive or negative. We want to hear it all. So let's jump into the episode. What have you guys been up to since we have been on our little break, Denzel?
The normal, and also the abnormal, making plans for the future, getting stuff in line, just understanding stuff is not going to happen overnight, but a little stride each day, that's all it takes.
Patience is a virtue. I like it. What about you, David?
Well, I'm supposed to be on summer vacation. As an educator, we do get the summers off. I have not been off yet. I have not been off yet. And then school, of course, I'm still a full-time student, so that does occupy a lot of my time. What about yourself?
I've just, been working and maintaining and making plans for the future, I think, as we all are, and just enjoying life, honestly, just really enjoying life in this space that I'm in. Malik.
I'm there fighting for my life. I've been, just living life, learning each day, looking for a job. It's very different, looking for a job right now at this point in my life. And then school. So introducing myself back into being a student again. So
Hey, congratulations.
That's a full load.
I know.
That's a
That's a
full
full
load.
load. I don't think people realize how
Mm-hmm.
difficult and how jarring it is to be on the job hunt again after you've been in a position for so long and you've learned and become an expert at what you do, and then have to go and kind of submerge yourself in something different. Like that is kudos to you.
Pride right
It
there.
is. It's definitely a swing at your mind.
Kudos to you.
I receive it.
Now I guess we can move into our happy hour. I'm sure you've seen
Happy
at least
hour.
somebody pick up one drink or so. We've got a couple flowing around. So this week's happy hour, I will start off by talking about, because I think this is the latest thing that I've seen happen in social media and pop culture. Jamie Foxx is back. Allegedly.
That's the clone.
And I was just about to say people are thinking he's a clone, and he actually made a joke about that in the little video he posted that he was a clone. I will say he looks different. His just overall general appearance looks different to me. We still illness or trauma or whatever it is that he went through still has not been disclosed. His circle is so tight. I feel like everybody in the industry can learn something from him and his PR team and his family because they have kept that shit on lock.
Absolutely.
We don't know what happened, and I don't know if we ever will know what happened. He may not want
I know
us
he
to
played pickleball.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
either they ride or dies or them MDAs. And,
he just in the hospital?
I want him to uncrop that picture so that Remini AI can come off the bottom of that picture.
Lord.
Because it ain't him. It ain't him.
That was, well, yeah.
Uncrop it, because we know it ain't him.
I wonder if his teams like sign like NDAs or something like that. That's probably why.
I mean, I'm sure you have to sign
yeah.
it to even work for somebody like that.
But don't come in and so intelligent by lying.
Just lying.
I was like, nah.
Because had you just left the clone shit alone, it never would have came in my mind.
Yeah.
But hey, who are me?
Because I don't think he was in, either he went in the hospital or either what they were talking about as severe of his injuries were. I don't think it was.
I mean, but you know, the public.
Something like.
I feel like the public, because I work in the medical field, I feel like the public often exaggerates a lot that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was saying that he had lines and stuff coming out of him, he may have had one IV in his arm or
Yeah,
something.
I mean,
or-
ultimately, you're not gonna have that many IVs, are you?
I mean, you can, depending on what's wrong, you can have a lot of them. You can have
shit, I
a lot
thought
of
you
different types.
Ooh,
You can have
mercy.
a lot of different types of IVs. So it just.
What did they say?
but
He
I
had like
don't-
a heart attack or a stroke or something?
They were saying he had they were saying he had like a stroke, and that was like in the blog. There was actually, I don't know if there was any validity to it, but they were saying he had like a stroke. And I did notice, because people with strokes often have a lot of communication problems. And one thing about Jamie Foxx is that he was always very charismatic. He was always very fluent in the way he expressed himself. And in that video, he said,
Both my ass work.
like he paused a lot, and I don't know if that was him just trying to gather his thoughts, or if he was having some sort of communication deficit or whatever. I don't know, but there was something that just jumped out to me. I'm not putting that on him.
It's giving stroke though, because the same thing happened with what's the little lady name?
Twink. Is it you been saying?
What's the little lady name? Queen of Atlanta.
Oh. I know who you're talking about.
Juicy, Miss Juicy, baby.
I don't know why when you said that I thought of Juicy, but it was just so absurd that
Yeah, she was tweaking when she came back on the video from her. Don't y'all say nothing about Twinkie Clark.
Leave her alone.
I'm gonna be on this floor laid out. I mean, what else is going on in the media though?
we may as well just go ahead and talk about it. Carly Russell.
Oh,
Is that her name?
hell.
Carly.
Is it
Whatever
Carly
it is.
Russell? Carly
Somebody.
Carly Delia Russell.
Somebody.
Is it Russell?
I don't know this
Russell,
woman.
yeah. Yeah.
Jesse Smollett.
Yeah. Ultimately.
I saw that meme that they said they put up with Jesse and Carly in a versus battle. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I guess she's a AKA as well.
Yeah,
I think.
so-
What?
And they had on there with her picture, Big Sister Abracadabra.
Now she done embarrassed her folks.
Yeah.
She done embarrassed her folks.
Well,
I hate
Well, I'm
that
trying to
she.
figure out what you were doing out there for. That man?
that man.
I
Well,
know.
she had a hard week. Well, that she got caught stealing at work.
I heard about that. The toilet
Oh,
tissue.
yeah.
What?
She was stealing toilet tissue
Yeah, I
at
heard it
work.
was money too.
Oh, I
Oh,
Because they
that's
said when she
right.
came home, well, it's allegedly, I don't know, because there's so many stories, but they said that she showed up at home when, after all this stuff, naked, had socks on, but she had money in the socks, which was the money that she stole. And
She slept? Why she have the money in the side?
they said she was stealing from work, and then I think she got put out of school, or she was flunking school one. Then the man was giving her problems.
Oh, God.
'Cause,
She's stressed out.
But she...
She had messaged a stripper that I guess that he allegedly slept with, and the stripper showed the messages and everything. Talking about, she was telling the girl, "You think he gonna leave me for you? You're the bottom of the trash and all this stuff."
Ooh, sweetie. Ain't nobody got no self-esteem.
But I just feel like, that had to been last minute because she did not plan that right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not giving a stress plan either. So I don't know what that situation
Now,
is.
the money, okay, cool. Depending on how much you done sold out them folks registered at the workplace.
But still enough to disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Still
For
enough to
real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you could have just got in the car and drove off and nobody would know what you
It's
were
just crazy the
I
fact
do it
that
all the
she
time.
knew
I do it all the
I
time.
just get in my car and drive off. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have to tell nobody
the
where I'm
fact
at.
that she was laid up in a doggone hotel somewhere, watching the world go crazy, looking for her.
It was the police call for me. I was like, girl, what are you doing? Have y'all heard it?
Oh yeah,
I
she
haven't
was
heard
saying that it was about
too many
child and
details. She
shit.
was too
Okay, about
dramatic.
the child and
I
all
was like,
that,
what are you
yeah.
talking about?
I mean, I originally believed it because I said, you know, with the whole human trafficking thing,
Yeah.
people do put kids in the middle of it and stuff.
That's the
But then
messed up thing.
as the details started to be exposed, I'm kind of like, oh, this is just some mess, you know.
Well, I was listening to the call and I was like, well, ma'am, I'm like, okay, well, if there's a child outside the car in danger, and you done pulled over to call the police, you know, most people's instincts is to get out the car, get the child out the road, right?
Yeah.
Not to call the police, and then you tell them exactly where you are. I'm in between this highway and that highway. You giving way too many details.
Right.
It sounds like it's been rehearsed, like it's been thought out, and then you didn't sound like you didn't have no empathy or nothing like that when you was calling. It sounded like you were trying to put on.
Yeah.
Girl, you thought that man was gonna come tearing down trees looking for you.
Well,
So she did it all to get him a call?
I guess I don't know what she did for, but she ain't got him now. Cause baby,
Streets
everybody
got
else on.
The street still got him.
Girl, you try to eliminate one problem, you made it 10 times.
I mean, did he look like somebody?
I mean, yeah, he's a nice looking guy. He's educated and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh, okay.
He would have went missing.
anything. Nah, then now you done brought your family into this. You got people looking stupid. You had Tina Knowles on Instagram talking about where you could be.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
If y'all do that, it's over.
Oh, girl. If I do that, I'm going out the country. Yeah, I'm not coming back.
Don't embarrass
But
me.
nah,
okay?
that's
He
not.
just showed up at the house.
Yeah.
Days later.
It's
Listen,
what's the TikTok? It's one of the TikTok creators. They had did like a Tubi like version of what
Oh
happened.
yeah.
And she laid up in some man's house, and he come in like, "Did you see the news?" And she looked, "Oh, they had a camera out there." She like, "I gotta go home."
It definitely would have been a good Tubi movie for
Mhm.
sure, or
But
it still can be.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, I think she needs some type of mental evaluation to even pull that out.
At this point,
not
yeah.
clicking
Yeah.
there, like
Yeah.
And
That's a lot.
I don't want this story to discredit women, especially black
Right.
women, when they say that there is a problem or they're being harassed or a victim of violence, or when they go missing and stuff like that. Like, I don't want this story to discredit that. And I feel like she is hurting the cause, because black women going missing in this country is a really big issue. And I hate, I really hate how it turned out. Like, I really, really do. But you can't control it.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, in this episode, we're going to do something new where we're going to introduce just like some hot questions at random. And I feel like now is a great time for David to choose a question from our little mystery bowl.
Y'all okay?
Yeah, we're good. You
No.
You all right?
Shit.
You kosher?
What's another one?
Read it aloud, please.
What is your biggest fear at this moment in time? My biggest fear at this moment in time. My biggest fear. I don't really know the answer to that question. I mean, I would say my biggest fear is maybe like dying too soon. Like dying too early, like at a young age. That's one of my biggest fears. And I just feel like it's only because I have so many goals and dreams. And that's really all it's about. I want to do so much with my life. And I mean, I'm happy. I'm doing the things that I love. I'm happy with work and all those things. But I just want to do it all. I want to do everything that I have ever dreamed of doing. And I want to live long enough to do all of it. that's it. What about yourselves?
My biggest fear is I'm gonna try not to get too sappy.
It's
My
okay.
biggest fear right now, because y'all know I recently just lost an aunt. And I lost her to cancer, and cancer is really big in my family. We have a long history of cancer. And so my biggest fear right now is losing my mom to cancer. because in the past we've had breast cancer scares and stuff like that. So right now, and probably just because it's my aunt's death is really really fresh. My biggest fear right now is my mom getting like some sort of cancer diagnosis, and for all we know right now, my mom is healthy as an ox. But that's just like one of the things that's in my mind because, just albeit a different set of circumstances, it could have been my mom or it could have been another one of her sisters or brothers or something like that. So that's just my biggest fear that, just she goes to the doctor for some sort of routine, whatever, and she comes home with this horrific news that, people hear cancer and they automatically relate it to death and stuff like that. And there's a lot that happens between the diagnosis of cancer and death. There's a lot that goes on. And sometimes, there are a lot of success stories when it comes to cancer. But I just, right now, on the heels of what happened with my aunt and seeing her struggle and suffer and be in so much pain and stuff like that, that's one of my biggest fears right now in my life.
Well, definitely, I'm glad that you work in the medical field because I think that you're educated enough to know, knowing early, getting checked and things like that is super powerful. And definitely praying for your family too.
Thank you.
Donna ain't going nowhere, but
No.
but yeah, definitely praying for the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Malik?
Oh, my biggest fear at this moment. I don't know. I would probably say myself. Yeah. I think for me, I'm at that point in my life where I really want to make sure I'm getting it. And I want to really make sure that whatever the lessons are that it's God, the universe, or whatever is trying to teach me, is that I really receive it. And I do all the necessary things and do the work to make sure I rise to my next best self. So sometimes I'm kind of scared. I'm like, okay, well, am I really paying attention to what's going on around me? Am I really aware? So yeah, that's my biggest fear.
I get that, because I guess it would really suck and make you feel some type of way to look back on something and be like, damn, I didn't get it. Like it was, you look back on the situation and how, everybody says that hindsight is 20/20. But you look back on it and you just like, damn, like that was my opportunity to do whatever, or that was the chance that I had to get whatever I was supposed to get from whatever situation I was in, and now it's gone. And you just have to wait for it to come back around. If it comes back around.
Well, I think it does. I think that I received the whole message from both perspectives, because when you go through something, it's not in vain. Right. I mean, it may not necessarily be a result of you doing something wrong or, be a repercussion of something, but the lesson is there for a reason. And it may be for you. It could be for the people around you who have to see you endure it. But like you said, you have to get it right. And if you don't get it right, you repeat it.
You expect it to come right.
Repeat it. Yeah, because I mean,
I think that's what fears me the most is like, because I want to do this shit again.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to do what I need to get right now and then move on. So it's like, I'm always hyper about it, like conscious about like, okay, am I making the right steps? Am I thinking about this the right way? Am I putting in the time and the right things? Do I have it mapped out the right way, or am I relinquishing it enough to where I'm just letting God lead me? So,
yeah.
Well, for me, I feel like with time we have no control about how long we're here. So I feel like my biggest fear is not utilizing and being grateful for the time that I do have here. And that, with that I mean like not being the best I can, or just constantly making the same, like knowingly making the same mistakes over and just wasting time. Whether that be with relationships, work, myself as well. So that's my biggest fear, just not utilizing the time that I have and not valuing the relationship that I have with the people in my life. That's it. Did that wrap that up? First question.
Good stuff.
That was good. Y'all coming out the gate with it. And I think it's really, really good because it really ties into the topic that we want to talk about today. So I really, really wanted to talk about the miseducation of the millennial. And I think the biggest question is like, what does that even mean? Like, what does it mean to be miseducated? But I think that as millennials, we grew up in a time where so many toxic generational cycles were created. And because I know you guys and we talk all the time, I don't think it'll be too complex for you guys to pick up, where this is going. But I mean, if you think about it, how many things that our parents teach us that they were kind of teaching us in survival mode, and we had to unlearn those things. Even on the previous season, we talked about how your parents teach you about get a job, stay there and retire, do what the white man say. Like a lot of those things were taught to us so that we could survive. You know what I'm saying? And I think that even though it's important to know how to survive, I think that you have to know when certain things don't work for you or they don't work for the path that you're taking. And I want us to just kind of talk about ways in which we can break some of those patterns that haunt us and our families as millennials or as people who were raised by, the generations before us who really just wanted us to know how to fight and know how to survive. Yeah.
I've been excited to have this conversation because I feel like a lot of the troubles and things that we go through are from cycles of things that just don't serve us. I feel like they're from us picking up on habits and just doing things a certain way because of tradition or because we've always done things that way, and they don't really serve us or propel us forward the way that we would want them to. And I feel like sometimes those things and the way those things are passed down and the people from which those things are passed down are some of the biggest issues that we have in life, as far as trying to reach goals, as far as trying to break cycles, as far as chasing dreams and stuff like that. Because if your parents or your cousins, your uncles, or the people around you have never chased a dream, or they've never stepped out on faith and went for something that was, sort of out of the norm, then, it's hard for you to go after those things because you don't know how. There's not a foundation laid there. There's nothing for you to pull from. You didn't see that growing up. It's just like, with relationships and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure we'll get into that. But, there's nothing for you to draw from. If you've always been around the same people who've always done the exact same thing, which is basically just get by. Because that's kind of what you're saying is you say, you work a job, you do what the people tell you to do, you retire, but you're basically just getting by. You're just doing the same thing.
A clone.
Yeah, you're like a hamster on the wheel, just going around and around and around.
I know that most of us, being black men, we got told when we was growing up, fall, scrape your knee, stop crying, get your ass up, suck it up, be a man, all this other stuff. But what are some other generational cycles that y'all probably dealt with at home?
Do y'all want me to go? Does somebody else have them? I know some of mine were save money. Saving money is not bad. I'm not saying that saving money is a bad thing, but if all you do in life is go to work, pay your bills, and put money up, then to me that's defeating the purpose of making money. That's defeating the purpose of having a $20,000 savings. Because I got to the point in my life where I had $25,000 savings, but I wasn't doing anything with it because all I had been taught was you go to work and you save money for a rainy day. Well, honestly and truly, thankful. I'm so thankful, and I say this with such a humble heart. My life hadn't been bad. I haven't had a lot of rainy days in my life. So now, and I used to joke with our friend James about this all the time. Well, my rainy day fund is just sitting over there because we weren't doing it. Neither one of us were doing anything with it. So that was one thing for me. I was like, well, Milton, you want to see the world. You want to travel. You want to experience different things. And you are not going to do that going to work, paying your bills, and put whatever money you have left in this savings account for a rainy day. Like you're not going to experience anything. You're not going to. That's not going to better you in a way.
Right.
So that was one thing for me that I had to learn to use money as a tool to get things and to experience things and to build myself up to a place where I was happy with. Like that thing you just brought up about what it is to be a man, because I don't know, and I've really spent a lot of time thinking about where this definition of a man comes from. I don't know if it comes from, and all of us were raised by mothers. Denzel and I, single mother. Everybody was raised pretty much heavily by mothers, and my father was in the picture too. But all of us, we were all raised by this. And his definition, my father's definition of a man probably came from his mother because he was raised by a single mother. So I don't know if that definition is, and it may be a conglomerate of all these things, but I don't know if it's from what they saw, what they wanted their men to be, what their men weren't, what they saw as, deficits in their brothers and, around the men around them. You can pick out a negative in this person and try to not pass it on to this person, but if you harp on one thing with this person, you create another it's just like an ongoing cycle. So I don't know where this definition of what a man is supposed to be, but I know it doesn't really serve men, especially black men in this community, because you make them toxic, you make them hyper masculine, you make them unimpressionable, anything that seems soft and feminine but they say it's feminine, but what it really is kindness and empathy and caring for your neighbor and your brother and your sister in your community or whatever. So a lot of them don't know how to do that because they're not in touch with their emotions, because they think their emotions make them weak, and it's just like this cycle of harshness.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I know, or I have an idea. Let me say that, of what it takes to break the cycle, but I don't know how to convey that to the people who carry on the cycle. Because you have these conversations with them and it's like they don't get it. They don't get where you're coming from, or they don't want to get it, and they're just not receptive to what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that the whole idea of masculinity is kind of twisted. And I think that especially like men don't cry or boys don't cry. And I'm just like, fuck that, because
That's how I feel.
crying is not necessarily how I feel, but crying is how I have allowed myself to deal with so many things. I think that crying has given me the courage to break through some cycles. Crying has allowed me to come to terms with some things. Crying has also kept me off a lot of people's ass too. And so I think that it's just kind of one of those things where I don't think that crying or expressing yourself should be a demerit to your masculine. And I'm not the most masculine person in the world, but I am a man. I handle my business. I got my own everything, and a lot of people who have alternative definitions to that often don't have their own everything. They got a whole bunch of kids they don't know how to raise, can't stay in a marriage, and the list goes on. I'm not going to step on y'all necks too bad, but a lot of people who have these weird definitions of what a man is ain't a man. They not. And I mean, that's neither here nor there, but you have to be careful how, especially as men, you have to be careful how how you make other people feel about who they are when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I feel like with that, parents are teaching their kids like how to be men, how to be women. Instead of doing that, teach your kids how to be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your life may not fit into the same category as other people's life, so you're trying to say you got to go do this, you got to be head of the house, you got to have this and all that stuff. That's not gonna work. And with me, like generational curse for me and my family is like basically cutting folks off if needed. And it comes from stuff like that, like toxic masculinity or telling how you supposed to be a man, how you supposed to be a woman, whatnot. You ain't gonna tell me that. Look, you lived your life. I'm gonna live mine. I done grew up and watched you make mistake after mistake after mistake, and you're not gonna come and get on me about going through the process of life. I'm gonna make mistakes. That's how it is. But I have to live my life for me, because at the end of the day, or at the end of my life, when I go to the Lord and Savior, I gotta answer to Him for what I done. I can't let you dictate my life, and then I gotta go answer to Him about what you told me to do. That's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't like that. Or people just teach your kids to be a good person, and I feel like everything else will come into line real good.
Yeah.
I think even like back to your point, like how do we fix it? Like as black men, I think, or just black people in general, I think we need to go back and understand what's the root.
What's the root?
Like the root is, I mean, this is real crazy, but it came from your grandmama, your grandmama, your grandmama, your grandmama, your grandmama, who was a slave. And it's like they had to go through something totally different in life, and they had a totally different survival skill that put that in place. And now we just doing it unconsciously and don't even know why.
Yeah.
I call it
And passing it down.
And I don't ever want to discredit the things that they had to go through and the ways that they had to live
Our struggle is
for
different.
safety.
Yeah.
But that is not our struggle
It's
anymore.
not our struggle.
Right.
To an extent, yes, there are proportionately more black men killed than any other people. We suffer from discrimination and racism and police brutality and mass incarceration. Yes, we struggle with all of those things, but the struggles that our great grandmothers had to face in the cotton field, where they had to teach their children to be seen and not heard, to be invisible, to not make a fuss, do not draw attention to yourselves and all that stuff. That is not our struggle anymore. Like I can tell you that I can speak my mind, no matter your color, no matter your race or background, ethnicity, position, title. I can tell you how I feel. I can respectfully. I can say to you, and it doesn't make me soft, because I can say to you, what you said hurt my feelings.
Right.
It made me feel sad, or it made me feel whatever. And it doesn't make me any less of a man to say that. It actually makes me more of a man to be able to communicate to you how I feel and not go and act on these emotions.
And that's the answer. That's how we fix it. You have to learn to mitigate situations. And I think that if we relearn what masculinity is, we can mitigate getting shot in the streets or being incarcerated in high numbers, because a lot of things that people do are tied to their ideas of masculinity. I got to take care of my family, so I got to go sell drugs. No, you don't. But there is a realm of people who tell people you got to go get it. If you want to provide for your family, you got to go get it, and this the way you go get it. It's not. It's not the way you go get it. We got jobs, and we can take care of a family if we want to. We don't have families, but I mean, if that's what we wanted to do, we could do that. But it takes reestablishing what masculinity is to mitigate so many of the issues that attack us as men or as people, because I don't want to get too caught up in the idea that it's a man problem, because it's a everybody problem. Really.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the issue with today's society, where the older generation is saying that the new generation is so soft. They always complain about something, but it's like the new generation, they're not gonna bother their feelings in. Just because your parents or the generation before you taught you to be like something made of steel and hold your feelings in, that's not how the world is today. And also a lot of people have an issue with that because they see themselves in these people and like, you have a chance to speak out because I felt like that. But you know, when you see somebody that resembles you and it's a bad side of you, you get, you know, like, ugh. But that's what a lot of people are doing now, like the younger generation, like they're saying like, I don't like this. I don't like how this job feels. I feel like you're not paying me enough. And the older generation, like, just suck it up. We did this and this and that. That's not the world we live in. The rent's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also these jobs don't, there's no respect just because you've been there 25 years. When they get tired of you, they let you go. And I think that's an unhealthy thing that we've learned. That's something that we've been miseducated on, is that you have to put up with it. But we also have to be cognizant enough to know that you have to fight properly.
Yeah.
You don't go to a job and cut up because they're not paying you right. Fight them on paper. Follow the rules and the guidelines that it takes to get fair wages, you know, because if you fight it the wrong way, it's the same way if I come up and cuss you out right now. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You ready to fight because of the way I approached you. So if you approach situations in a proper manner, people hear you and they receive your heart. And I think that we have to learn how to lead with our hearts sometimes, so that people can understand our message. Yeah.
I agree with that, and then there's a part of me that disagrees with that, just because of the plight against black people. But for the sake of the conversation, I'm not going to get into that part of it.
Hit it just a little bit. I want to know where you're going.
I feel like the system that you just described is a system that is set up for a white-to-white interaction.
True.
Because if I have a problem with another nurse at my hospital and I decide to write her up, take her to HR, take her to the manager or whatever, there is already a perspective of me that is in place before whatever complaint I have is read, before the situation is actually broken down for the facts of the situation. There is already an outlook based on the fact that I'm a black man in this situation having a problem with a white woman in her world. Because like I think I said this on a previous episode last season, nursing is still a white woman's world.
Absolutely.
So there's already preconceived notions about what is going on before the actual facts are just taken and placed and viewed unbiasedly. That's the only thing that I have with that. And but I do agree with you that some situations should be handled like that. But I also think that this system, and I guess we can talk about this because these I'm kind of venturing off into like my more radical thoughts and views on stuff. I don't think this system is set up for black people, but the conversation we have is in-house. It's like an in-house conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't want to bring like a whole lot of racial and other stuff, although that plays a part
It does.
in this
It does
conversation
play a part
too.
in it.
But I don't want to just delve too far into that. So before we get that far, Denzel, I think you should draw a question.
Okay.
And if it's mine, my handwriting is horrible, but
It's
it got
words
words
all
on
there.
it.
Look, it got words on there.
Oh, good one.
It must be his.
What music artist is on your sick and shut out list and why?
Ooh.
Who wrote that? What do you mean sick and
He
shit?
made that bullshit up. And I know
I mean,
he
like,
was
you're not fooling with them. They done something that you just like, you don't
Okay.
want nothing from.
Coco Jones.
Oh, wow.
You don't listen to Coco?
Why
Y'all
y'all?
do?
You don't like I See You?
Y'all listen to that?
I mean, I heard it.
There you go.
Why? Well, I mean, what did she do? Was
Nothing.
you just not like the song?
I like her. I like her, but I don't want to hear her music. I don't want to hear music from her.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like Raven Simone. It's still kind of like Disney Channel.
Yeah.
To me. Just grown up. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't want to hear that.
I
I mean,
get
but
that.
I love her though. I want to see her on Will Smith show. I want
Air,
to see her
right.
doing her TV personality stuff, but I do not want to hear her music.
I'll be trying to sing that the beginning of that song, but I can't go there. It's
Only person I can hear singing it is Patrick.
Patrick be singing.
He'd be singing the hell out of it. But I completely agree. I don't have to hear her sing. I don't. She redid. She covered a Brandy song, "Full Moon," and I hated it. I don't think it paid homage to the song at all. No, I just don't think vocally that was a good choice. And I feel like they're playing with her lower register. That's what people like. You know, we've come out of this whining and carrying on that SZA and all the rest of them do. And this is where they're going, you know. I mean, we've been whining for 15 years now.
Damn.
They whine Marcus Houston and Omarion on out of here, and now they whining some more.
The girls.
How much more do we have to take of this now? Y'all done
And
being
stop
sad?
resampling all them old songs that we grew up on. I'm so sick of hearing that.
Yeah,
Nobody's original anymore.
yeah. I mean, her and Tamar
Got the same song.
did the same song, sampled the same
SWV.
SWV, 3LW, all them, same thing.
Now that's somebody for me that I'm sick of shit. I don't ever have to listen to a Tamar Braxton song. I don't ever have to listen. It's single.
Tamar has some good projects.
It's just to me, she has, and this is just personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
She has that Braxton quality to her voice, but just not in a way that I like it.
Yeah.
And it's not even the fact that I'm biased toward Tony, because I don't even think Tony is the best singer. I don't think Tamar's the best singer. I honestly think Trina is the best singer out of
She
the
is.
five.
Absolutely.
But it's just Tamar's voice and
You said out of the five, is that the sisters or out of all kids?
out of the sisters.
Oh, okay.
It's just because Michael can sing too.
Michael can
But,
sing all of them, but
I honestly think Trina is the best sounding one out of the girls.
And Tracy.
you know Tracy
Tracy.
with the right song.
Tracy, the
Oh,
right
yeah.
song.
With the right
What is
song.
that last call?
Last call was
Yeah.
cool.
My
Last
song.
call was
My
cool.
song.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, Tamar is definitely on my seek and shut in. I don't ever have to listen to.
Yeah.
I think I liked her more before I started like learning more about her personal life and seeing her more on TV and stuff.
Tamar.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the girls, especially Tamar and Tony, they sing with this mask over their voice, because I mean all that is not how they really sing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a all right, if y'all don't cut this shit out. But that's a veil that's over their voice. They don't really sing like that.
My problem.
They can sing songs regular.
My problem with Tamar is get somewhere and shut the hell up.
Just be quiet sometimes.
But
All the people doing
Less
all
is
this
more.
stuff.
Less
Be
is more.
quiet, shut your ass up and sit down and act like you're 45. I mean 50 or whatever. However old she
Same
is.
thing.
Who's on your list?
Who's on my list that I don't have to hear? That's hard to say. I really love music. Like I love all different types of music. I would say that somebody that I just don't have to have. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. There's nobody that I just hate that bad. Not even Monica. Because Monica got some bops, you know. And I mean, I'm a Brandy fan all the way, but you know, she ain't that bad.
There is another person on my list, but I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna cause some problems.
I already know, Chad.
It's gonna cause some
I
problems.
can see it on your face. I know it.
I'm not going
Well, who
to
is it?
say
I
it.
want to know.
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take that.
I'm not gonna I don't have to. I don't have to.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. We gonna move right along.
Huh?
Y'all know them personally?
There's a very small degree of separation there, but yeah, I just don't have to listen to them.
Well, for me, it would be Brian McKnight over him.
Brian McKnight.
Not because of his musical skills, because he's a bad fucking father.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah, I don't fuck with him.
Dope fiend drama.
How you gonna have a son named after you, then you gonna name another son after you? That's crazy.
I don't. I was gonna say, I thought Brian was dead, but he's not.
Oh, don't kill me.
Might as well be.
Well, just 2 years ago, he was trying to show people how to make their pussy work. So
Oh, my.
he had a song out called "Show You How to Make Your Pussy Work."
Brian
McKnight,
Absolutely.
the one that was doing the counting song.
Go look it up. It's called "Show You How to
The
Make
one
Your
that got
Pussy
two
Work."
sons named after him.
Brian McKnight. Brian Donovan McKnight.
He don't
Donovan.
acknowledge the black one. He acknowledged the white one. But he don't.
You know,
That's
Brian ain't got no money. He had to go over there and play games.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do.
Speaking of doing what you have to do, what have y'all learned as y'all have lived and matured and kind of branched off on your own path away from your family and in your home unit? What have you learned that you don't have to do anymore? Like, you don't have to do it that way. Like, it doesn't have to be the way that you have always done things. It doesn't have to be this one way to do this. It doesn't have to be this one path to get to where you're trying to go. What have you learned that, I can take this path and still end up, where I want to be, or I can do, I can cook my meat first and then boil my noodles for my spaghetti. Like, what have you learned that you don't have to do it the way that it's been passed down to you?
Stop saving grocery bags.
Got a whole fire.
What are we doing with it? What are we doing with it?
I'm like, what the fuck am I finna put up in this
What are we
shit?
doing?
Why do I have this?
Yeah.
But I have to tell myself, throw them away.
I got a whole cabinet full of them over there.
Fire hazard.
And don't need them for shit. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that.
But I would say for me, learning and being out, and as I continue to get older, I'm learning now. I don't have to do what my mom and my dad did when it comes down to like finances, and so I'm learning structure in that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my mom and my daddy like spend. Like, we had it, we finna go. We finna go get it. And now I'm learning that it's a time in the season to do all that, and then they didn't teach me. If they had a system going on with budget and stuff like that, they didn't pass it down. So I'm learning now to kind of like, I don't have to do it that particular way or live on impulse. I can actually make some things in symmetry. I can get a system going in that way.
Do you think that your parents, the way that they live and spent money, do you think that they had the same mind frame as maybe their parents were someone that saved and they wanted to just like, hey, we got it if we're gonna enjoy it right now?
I think them folks had 3 kids at 23 years old and didn't know what the fuck they were doing and have started a cycle and kept it going.
Yeah, if it worked for them.
If
Whether
it worked for
was
them,
right or
if
wrong.
it always pulled off, that's what they were doing, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
And a lot of people
Right.
live like that, not knowing exactly like what's going on. So
I think for me it's like I don't have to buy a house right now.
that's
I don't
right.
have to be married right now. I don't have to have kids
That's
right
nice.
now. I don't have to be set in a specific career right now.
Yeah.
Because as y'all know, I mean, I'm solid, but I'm a dreamer. Everybody knows that I dream big. Any goal that I set forth, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to get there, and I live my life in that manner, chasing my goals, chasing my dreams. And I think that oftentimes, and this is not necessarily my parents, but just the influences, people teach you to get to this age and settle down, be cool with your life, be cool where you are. And that's just not me. I'm not settling for nothing. Yeah, I'm not settling for nothing. I'm sorry. None of that enthuses me at all. And I don't think that the person that God created me to be lives that life, of just getting somewhere and being cool with it. Yeah.
For me, I think it's not putting a time limit on anything that I want to do in life, and also not being afraid to take a risk. Like, if that risk can shake up my whole life, if that's what I feel like, that's what I want to do. If it's gonna benefit me down the road, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That's me. My parents and stuff, they're one of the ones like you just previously described, like get a job, settle, and make the best of that. I'm not me. That's not me.
Can I make a comment before the next person goes? look at where we are in life.
Yeah.
In so many ways, we have accomplished way more than a lot of people our age.
True.
Way more. And it's not to brag, but it's to show that there's not necessarily a roadmap for this shit. You have to have a goal. You have to have people that support you, and you got to handle your business. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like there are people out here who be like, well, why don't you have this and why don't you have that? And I'm like, you got that, and that's all you got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got that and you staying with your mama.
And you staying with your mama, or you stuck in a marriage you don't want, or you got 15,000 kids that you sick of, you know, and it's just like that. None of that stuff stuck, you know, when people were trying to teach me that kind of thing. And so I think that it's important for us to be who we are so bad, because there are people who really feel like they got to 30 and that's it. Like, this is all I ever have. This is all I can obtain. And they're afraid to put their foot out and go and obtain something bigger or something more, you know, because when I become a millionaire, I'm be like, all right, that's done. Billionaire status, where we going? What we doing? You know,
I want some more.
Right.
I always have a goal.
This was calculated, bitch. What else we doing?
But I think a lot of people live life as planned, and they don't understand life is a as you go type of situation.
Absolutely.
You can have plans of what you want to do though, but with your plans, and life can have its own plans, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do regardless of what you got planned. So you just gotta be able to adjust to it.
Yeah.
I feel, and I always tell, and I get in a lot of trouble for this, but I always tell, like, my cousins, because we moved out of our parents' house very early. They and I were roommates. I think I was 20, they was, 19, 18, like...
18, 19, somewhere in there.
We moved out of our parents' house very, very early, and then we moved out of state, like, away from our families.
Right after that.
Right, like, very early, too. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the most enlightening experiences I've ever had as far as learning myself and learning what I'm capable of. And I always get in a lot of trouble for telling my family, because I tell my little cousins, I know these folks. I know these niggas. Mm-hmm. Your mama and your daddy and your sister, I know all these niggas. And I've been knowing them a lot longer than you have. Get the hell away from these people.
Because they ain't gonna do no more than what they are.
Because they ain't gonna do nothing else, and as soon as you try to do something different, they're gonna talk down on you.
Yeah.
And I tell them all, why you doing that? She don't need to go with my cousin. I get pissed off about this every time I think about it. My cousin had an opportunity to move out here to Texas to be like a district manager for some logistics company or something like that, and all her family was saying, my aunt and her cousins and sisters and stuff, you don't need to go out there by yourself. You ain't never been away from home. Who gonna take care of Addison while you out there? And I'm like, she take care of herself now. She don't ask y'all for nothing. Y'all ain't watching this damn child when she do need somebody. Like, the child is in daycare. I'm pretty sure they got daycares in Texas.
Yeah.
She's gonna
Way
be
more
making
than what they
money.
got there.
Right. She's gonna be making more money in Texas. She's gonna have more access to everything. Like, but they talked her out of that situation, and I'm pretty sure she still regrets that to this day. Mm-hmm. So I always try to tell and encourage. It's really just an encouragement. It's not like I don't like my family. I love them hoes. Mm-hmm. But I encourage my younger cousins and my sisters and my little brothers. I always get away from your family, because it is such a learning experience to learn or to realize who you are outside of your family unit, what you're capable of. I think it's important to experience things you've never experienced before, to let you know what all is possible. And then when you realize what all is possible, you can form your dreams around that, and then you can start to go and strive for these things. But if you never know that it's possible to be a 7-figure entrepreneur, because you've never seen that, because all of your people all of your family goes to work and are proud of $30, $45, $50,000 a year. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but if that's not what you want, then you shouldn't settle for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody should take some time and get the hell away from their families.
Yes, it's very beneficial.
Just get away. Yeah.
Even if you go 20 miles up the
It
road.
is, and even if it's only for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
get out and experience something else. Because I'm telling you, those people cannot teach you what you will learn. Mm-hmm. Moving out of state, what we did, as young as we were, we had only been in college a year, and we moved. And it was just like, he went to Florida, I went to Dallas, or came to Dallas. And even though we both came back to Mississippi after a little while, we came back new people. First of all, we didn't sit down at all. After that, like we had experienced so much. And so even now it's like, I feel bad because some of the lessons that people my age are learning, I'm like, damn. Like I learned that shit at 19, 20, and so, I mean, I don't care what age you do it. I don't care if you're 40. And if you've been itching to get away and try something new, you got to do it.
You have to do
it. Whether you fall or whether you stand tall, you got to go do it. You got to get that experience and if you will just stick with it, even when you fall, just stick with it. Because there's been many a times where I tripped and failed or thought I did. And it was only a bruise that would push me to another level. You know what I'm saying? Put me somewhere else to be able to experience more. So, yeah, you got to get over it.
You owe it to yourself.
You owe it to yourself.
You
Absolutely.
owe it to yourself to chase your dreams and to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Yeah.
You gotta just be able to get out and just like understand. Don't be afraid to fail because everybody fails at some point in life. And if they haven't failed yet, trust me, it's coming.
It's coming.
That's just part of life.
That just goes with like breaking away from like unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like, some people just, especially your family, they will put expectations on you to be this and be that. And then while you're going through your trials and tribulations and climbing your mountains, it's like people will make you feel like, oh, you failed.
Yeah.
Or like you didn't do it. But I was like, shit, I bumped my knee. I'm gonna get up and try it again. Let me clean my womb up, and then I'm gonna go back.
I know what not to do.
I know what not to do.
I think
Yeah.
you and I had the conversation where people get it misconstrued that failure and success are like opposites.
Right.
Failure is a part of success.
Let me tell you something.
Nobody
If you haven't
succeeds without
failed,
failure.
you ain't going no damn where. And if you live in your life trying to get around, not making this mistake and that mistake,
You in a cycle.
you in a sad cycle, and it's gonna always catch up with you. Like, you cannot be afraid to bump your head. You cannot. And if you're doing it with the right purpose or the right intention, when you do fall, and not to even go biblical, but Scripture says He always prepares an exit. Always. So there's always a way through. But will you be able to stand through it and actually fight?
Every day.
You gotta
I'm
fight.
Showing up. I'm out here.
Yeah.
Where you at, bro?
Where you at, Lord? And many times I've been on my knees and be like, hey, Lord, what up? Hey. Now I done told you I'm out here for you. What we doing now?
What we doing? Show me something.
But having failure part of your journey, it makes you appreciate the success at the end. Because if you just go through life and everything is a success with no issues, you're gonna lose track of being grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
Because there's no point of being grateful because everything's gonna be good. But failure shows you that hey, you gotta put in a little work and look how much work you put into this. So
Yeah.
Ask me a question, please.
question time. Question.
Now watch I get something absolutely scandalous.
Yeah.
Watch.
You put some scandalous shit in there. It looks scandalous. It's long.
If you had to choose between your first love and your recent ex to live the rest of your life with, who would you choose? I'd die.
Wow.
First love or recent ex?
Okay, let me seriously think about. Yeah, I'd die. I just die. I just want to live.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, it would be my first. Even though it was bad at the time, though, I think that was due to immaturity and was young. We both were young, so I think now down later on in life, we both have matured, and I think it'll be okay. But to live, those are the only two options I have. But damn, sure not the last one.
So
I'm in the ground with you.
Come on! They can put out plots right beside each other.
I don't.
Jackson Memorial.
Still firm on their decision.
I know this.
Don't save me.
Listen, I can respect staying 10 toes down with what you said.
Don't do no life-saving measures. Just let me go on.
Yeah.
I don't even know who my first love was.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I haven't been in love often.
You remember? Oh, you remember who
I mean,
yours? I
first
thought you
love,
remembered
not
who
just
mine was.
first
I was about to say,
person.
but
Oh.
First love.
No,
like,
I
first
don't
person
know.
you really had feelings
I don't
for.
know.
Remember?
I don't know, but I don't know what that was, but I think that what I will say is that all of it taught me a lesson. And where I am now, I wouldn't make a lot of the same mistakes that I made then. Even though 10 times out of 10 the other person was at fault, I do realize where my mistakes came in and why me and that person may or may not be together or cool or whatever. But it's just it's life. I'm not caught up on
It taught me that I would just
those
rather go ahead and
things.
die.
Yeah.
I would just rather go ahead and die.
We might as well pull one more. Let's pull one more.
Who hadn't pulled?
Malik haven't pulled. Or is it your second time?
I haven't pulled it.
Oh,
Okay. I hope you don't get your own.
Probably not. I don't think I'll get this one. Yeah, this is mine. What are some places that you guys are planning on traveling in the next year or so?
We're going to LA for New Year's.
Yeah.
And I want to say we planned something.
I know we want to go back up to the DC
We
area.
want to go back
we're gonna
northeast.
go back to DC at some point.
And you said you want to go visit Seattle too.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Seattle.
Y'all should record when y'all go. Y'all should go together.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the first thing that you look at when you go? What does that mean?
To someone's house.
Oh, when I go to someone's house?
We gotta put that
I look at the bathroom. I check the bathroom. I check the bottom of the toilet. I also look behind your curtain to see how clean or dirty you are. I mean, it tells you a lot about a person, but I definitely check that bathroom. I sniff when I come to the front door.
Of course.
And I'm cognizant of those things before people come over my house, so I always check. I walk out and come back in and make sure I can't smell, the garbage disposal or nothing like that. Yeah.
Well, for me, I check the baseboards and I also check your sink.
Okay.
Wait, let me tell you something. I'm checking all that shit. By the time I open the door, I'm trying to see what's on the walls, looking at
It's something about dirty baseboards that
stay
gets me.
here. I'm listening to make sure that the damn alarm ain't beeping, everything.
I'm
You got
listening for
cameras?
everything.
Turn the lights on.
Everything.
Yeah.
Turn the lights on.
Yeah.
I'm checking now.
If you got a leather couch, I check for handprints. Like up here, I check to see if it's handprints up there. That means you've been fucking on the couch.
Well, child, I know I ain't the first person there, so I don't care what handprint is there, as long as it's not,
You can tell if it's fresh or not.
sometimes, it be their handprints.
So it might. It might.
I
hate y'all so much.
How do you feel about the impact of transgender on the youth? I will pull this question.
Ooh.
I feel that it is probably a case by case thing because, as you know, children develop and mature at different rates. I feel like because transgender is, or the topic of transgender people is one that still confuses adults. So, and I don't know enough about the transgender community as I would like to know. But I feel, especially if you have a child that is dealing with transgender issues and feel like they may be transgender, I feel like it's definitely a case-by-case thing. I feel like if you feel that your child is emotionally and cognitively able to handle a conversation about trans people, trans identity, and what that means, then I don't feel like there's anything wrong with having the conversation, especially if your child is exposed to transgender people. I feel like, and this is just with any topic, whether it be race, sex, drugs, the longer you try to shield them away from it, the longer bits and pieces of information kind of sifts its way through, and they're kind of forced to put the pieces together, and a lot of times they get it wrong. And a lot of times when they are faced with it kind of in a more personal space, they usually make the wrong decision about whether to indulge or not indulge or partake and stuff like that. So that's how I feel about it, and I feel that the guardians and the parents and whoever is presenting this information, or whoever is being asked about this information, has a responsibility to give them factual information, not biased or what you feel or what your perspective is on stuff like that. Just give them the facts. Give them, especially if you feel like they're mature enough to handle it, give them the facts and give them what you feel like they're capable of processing. And just be there to answer whatever questions they have, because they're gonna have questions. I have questions, so just be there to answer whatever questions you feel that they may have when they arise. But I feel like it's a case by case thing, because as a parent, I don't feel like anybody knows your child as well as you do. So you'll know when your child is able to handle that type of conversation. I feel like it's a lot of talk around trans. There are a lot of advocates. There are a lot of people who are against. There are a lot of anti-trans people out there. There are a lot of people who feel, different things about trans. People feel like it's real. People feel like it's not real. People feel like it's mental disorder. Whatever it is. Whatever it is that you may feel about it, it's here.
It's not going anywhere.
And it's not going anywhere, and it has and it's been here, and you have a responsibility to educate yourself about it, no matter how you feel about it. So
I agree with all of that.
I want to tailor the question differently for you.
Okay.
Instead of the impact of the youth, how do you think it's been impacting like the education system?
I'm glad you tailored that. That's where I was gonna go as well. Because I do have some views. Some can be very controversial. However, when it comes down to children, I think that I do not believe that children should be allowed to make a decision on what gender they are at a certain age. And I'm going to back this up with some cold, hard evidence. I have multiple children that I teach every day who identify as transgender or trans whatever. And I specifically, I had a student who came to me on the first day of school, and they said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so, and I want to go by this." I said, "Okay, bet." Went the whole school year calling this student by their name. Then all of a sudden, I started noticing a shift in the appearance of this child, which was opposite of what they had told me that they wanted to be recognized as. I also noticed a shift in the types of people that this person dated as well. Keep in mind, there had been no reconstructive surgery at all. This was just a decision, a mental decision that the student made. Long story short, all that's out the window. Now they want to be recognized as the gender they were born with, and not because anybody swayed them any specific way, but just because as they continue to grow and mature and live life, they recognize maybe this ain't really what I want. However, I have another student who specifically came to me and said, hey, I'm so-and-so. I want to be called this on this day and this sometimes. And my question was, well, how will I know which day you feel like a boy or a girl? To this day, I don't have an answer. They didn't have an answer. But I think that, as kids, it's important to allow children the opportunity. Number one, talk to your kids.
Yeah.
Talk to them, give them an opportunity to express how they feel about certain things. So as a parent, you're ahead of it. As a parent, I can say, well, look, it's cool that you feel the way you feel. Give it a couple of years. Give it until you 17, 18 to determine, is this something you really want to do? Because once you start saying this and people recognizing you as this, you stuck with that. You know what I'm saying? I think that at an early age, you have to learn how you present yourself is what people remember you as. And so now a lot of those kids struggle with the kids teasing them because it was like, well, just earlier in the year, you was fussing and fighting with people about calling you this, and now you that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that as a kid, you have to teach children to take your time before you make a solid decision like that, because we change. People change all the time. You don't need to be making that decision at that age, I feel like. Especially not you as a parent letting them go out here and cut on themselves and change themselves at that age, and then when you become an adult. How many of us have changed from being young,
I agree with you about the surgical part of it, but I feel like children have always made that sort of decision because you have always seen, the what we would classify as overly feminine guy who grows up to be, super masculine, and you've seen the tomboy who grows up to be, super feminine or whatever. I feel like children have always sort of made that decision, but I feel like now that there are words and verbiage and a language to express that, now that's coming apart. Now it's coming to a head, and people are like, well, like, where is all of this coming from? Because now it's more so, we can verbalize what it is, and I'm telling you, and so now, you kind of have to do something about it. Whereas if the little girl wants to go play basketball, you just kind of let her go play basketball. Yeah. Or if she wants to wear baggy shorts and a big T-shirt like her brother, you just kind of let them do it. Especially in the 90s, like that wasn't a conversation. Like it wasn't a conversation about.
That's my problem with it. I don't think it's enough conversations. I think it's you see it on TikTok and anything that you say, hey, look, I don't think you need to be making a decision. Then you anti. Right. And then people throw it in defenses, and it should be more.
But what does that conversation look like?
I was just about to say that because the first child that you described may be just from what you said, to me it seems like they just may be a little confused.
I think they were solid. I think that child was solid in I want to be this. And then you may not have had that thing tickled on yet. Or you may not have got on hard yet, or to experience,
confused, or maybe just hadn't lived enough.
And that's my biggest thing.
The second child that you described, to me, it seems like they would identify more so with the proper education with non-binary instead of transgender, and that's why I feel like more conversations need to be
I agree with that,
because it's new to everybody, like you said. And then for the kids, it's like, okay, well, I know this, I want to walk in this, but at the same time, I don't think people really are sitting down and saying, hey, well, okay, well, why don't we try you just wearing this shirt today and just see
express yourself without putting a label on yourself.
You do this
Absolutely,
and just have more conversations and more spaces for them to feel.
Because you have to let them feel like they can express themselves. You have
saying, and you go straight and go cut the shit off.
But I feel like the fact or situations where people just don't want to have the conversations, or like, Or
Oh, yeah.
I hate to always, well, damn, now it's something else. I feel like that is so lazy.
Yeah.
It is.
It's lazy that you don't even want to broaden your thinking.
That's how
Yeah.
people get
To
lost.
you're right. That's how you get lost. That's how you get left behind, and that's how you feel like something has always been sprung on you. When you could just, if you just sit down and have the conversation, feel your way through it. There is going to be some, offenses on both sides because it's new to everybody. I don't know exactly the right language to use because, and I was listening to an interview with T.S. Madison, and she was saying that she is not offended by the word tranny because when she was coming along, that's all they knew. Transgender was a word, but it wasn't like a common word used to describe what she was. So tranny was how they were identified, and so she was fine with it. But if you say tranny now to somebody,
It's offensive.
It's damn near a hate crime.
Same thing with dyke too. Like calling a person a
I'm gonna
dyke.
say that.
This
Let me tell you something.
that's
Yeah.
I almost had my head taken off. 'Cause
Yeah.
lesbian was not a thing.
It
You
was
were
not a
dyke.
thing. You was a dyke, and
Sorry,
people
I'm not trying to
people was
offend
cool with
anybody,
it,
but
man. Let's be
people were
real.
cool with it.
People
They
was
would tell
cool
you,
with
"No, I'm a
it.
dyke."
Yeah.
But I
You
think
know?
more people were cool with it back then there because you're already being labeled as that, and if you do try to put some type of resistance to it, it's gonna make the situation worse.
It does. Well, now it's equated to being the same as faggot.
Yeah, that's what I
And
said.
for so long, faggot was the only word you knew. But not to even get on this conversation, but women have always had a pass when it came down to their sexuality and things like that. People either didn't talk about it or it was just excused or ignored. So
You're
I
only
just
a dyke if you were like the stud, but if you like the femme, you were like that's still a girl.
I also feel, and this is just from my community, this is something that really bothers me, that we give passes to people who use that word, because we'll go dig up some tweets or some videos from 1982.
Yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
said faggot, and we'd be ready to counsel them.
And it's like,
And then, because I just watched this clip of, I think it was Monique, and she was talking about her child. She was like, what the fuck is he, a faggot? And we didn't counsel Monique. Tyler Perry didn't counsel her, but we didn't counsel her. So, I don't know. I think it's just one of those subjects.
yeah.
It's just
I
one
think
of those
the more that we
subjects.
continue to kind of like navigate through the newness of it,
Mm-hmm.
we'll find a definition that kind of like mediates
Yeah,
both sides
yeah.
of it.
But see, I'm just so respective of the person. If you tell me that today is Monday and I don't want to be called Tom,
it's that.
I want to be called Sheena. I'm like, okay, well,
I'ma
what's
call
up,
you
Sheena?
Sheena. I'ma
What
call you
up?
Sheena.
Like, it ain't no big. It's not a big deal to me because I respect you enough as a person to be able to say, if that's what you want to be called, I don't have no problem with that.
As long as you don't change every week, we good.
You can change every week. You can change. If I walk up like, "What's up, Malik?" I'm not Malik today. My name is Myra. Okay, well, what's my bad? My name Myra. What's up? I mean, I ain't man. My bad.
I don't respect it, but I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna ask you to say.
My only
I'm
thing,
just, it's whatever.
my only thing is with the transgender thing. I hate that a lot of people that have a lot of hate within themselves are utilizing the ideal of them going after kids. Like, we need to recruit more. That's not what it is or whatnot. That's just the hate that you have for the whole situation.
Yeah.
Like, because your husbands are doing a lot more to the kids, harmful things to kids than, what trans people are doing to kids. And to be honest with you,
Damn.
I'm going to say, I ain't gonna say there aren't any like cases of where a trans person has molested a child or raped a child or something like that, but I haven't heard it too many. I hear more about the other situation. I feel like trans don't have to fool with kids because most of the time they fool with your husband,
Or your granddad is.
uncles,
And auntie
The
use
pastor.
it too. Look, can't forget the women.
and
They
the
do
guy
it
at the
too.
doggone car wash.
Yeah.
That's right
So-
there.
Cause Whitney Houston, auntie or cousin or whoever was messing with her all that time. Ain't nobody know nothing.
But and to be also with
Facts.
and to be more clear with it, a lot of transgender people are more. I ain't gonna say more, but I would say they are good with kids because they take in a lot of kids that go through the same situation that they are, like being put out the house, like the situation on Pose, the whole concept of that story, Blanca taking in Damien and stuff like that. They teach kids, they raise kids, like they're not looking to screw kids or whatnot. It's just about a family thing. And most transgender people are really nice people. When aside from that situation, when you take that away from them, they get
Do
along
y'all
just about
personally
anybody.
know any transgender people?
I do.
I can't remember this.
I wouldn't say personally.
I know of some people.
Yeah,
I do.
I would like to, because I would like to be educated a lot more, and I don't want to always get it secondhand from, some cis hetero man.
Yeah.
I would love to get it from a true source about what it really means to be trans. What are like some real struggles that you go through in your everyday life? Not the government trying to do whatever, but like only in your everyday life, when you wake up in the morning and you leave out of your front door, like what are some struggles that you go through, and what are some things that cis people can do to alleviate some of that stress. Like those are the type of things that I would like to know, but I don't know any.
And they just don't want. They don't get the acknowledgement on like the influence that they have on the world, like fashion. And
We've
stuff
been
like
sensitized
that.
to be afraid of them.
Yeah.
Because we feel like that if you're up against a person that you automatically like them.
Yeah.
Or because you associate with a person that you're like them. But I mean, we live in a world where everybody is so different. We all have different upbringings. When we learn how to accept people for people and realize that our influence can be so much stronger sometimes just by being quiet and loving people, that we will see a better world. Yeah. We can live with a lot less stress in our lives if we could just learn how to lead with love. Lead with love. And a lot of the things that we're dealing with as a society are the result of pushback. And sometimes you can push back too hard and you make other things rise up. And I think that no individual who is expressing themselves should have to fight that hard for people to accept them. I think that we should just accept people, love on them, and if you have a way that you want somebody else to live their life in front of them. Because if you live in a way that's working and you out here doing this and doing that, I'm gonna be like, hey, I want some of that. What you got? I want to live a good life too, or live this life that's so good that you think it is. You know what I'm saying? Just live your life in front of people the way you think it should be, and keep your negative opinions to yourself.
Ooh, child. We done drunk everything up
We
on
done drunk
here,
up
ain't?
everything.
Well, you know what good thing? We got Liquid IV.
Yeah.
Go here to boost us back up.
Liquid IV is good.
It is. It has a lot of benefits.
We tried a new flavor today, the strawberry, right?
Yeah,
Strawberry.
passion fruit is my favorite.
Yeah.
It has a lot of good things in here for you. 45 calories as well.
Yeah.
And then you can also get it at your local grocery store. And good thing about it also is that you can get a discount by us.
Yeah.
If you go to their website and use the code as told by Millennials, you'll get a little small discount when you order.
Absolutely.
Come out.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. This is our first episode back. And we enjoyed being here, enjoyed the panel. Malik, thanks again for coming back. You'll be back again. Anything anybody else has to say?
No, I think this was a really good episode. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you, David, for bringing it
Absolutely.
to the table. Thank you, Malik, for being here once again. Make sure you guys check out our website. You can get to it by following the link in each one of our bios or the bio on the As Told by Millennials Instagram page. Make sure you follow the page. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. And we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.
We're out.